Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. And I've also got a bonus dessert for you today. I made some apple dumplings. So let's get into this week's video. For dinner this first night, we decided to order pizza, and we have not had Domino's pizza in maybe 10 years or so. Not for any particular reason. It's just that when we had it the last time, it wasn't necessarily our favorite. But I've heard a lot of people say that they've changed several things. So we wanted to give it a try. We ordered, they had like a 2 medium special pizza. And so I got pepperoni, sausage, and bacon. And then we did a Philly cheesesteak pizza for Gary. And it wasn't bad. I mean, I will be honest, I won't say it's my favorite pizza, but it wasn't bad at all. We enjoyed it. For dinner the next night, we just had leftovers. I didn't get a picture because it was the same thing as the night before, just pizza. For dinner the next night, I made my Burrito Casserole. Now, I've shared this, I believe, once before on my channel, but I wanted to share it again because, one, it's been a while, but two, this is one of our family favorites. It's an easy, budget-friendly weeknight meal. So let me show you how I put this together. My oven is preheating to 375 degrees. In this skillet here, I've just got some ground turkey that I browned up with a little bit of salt and pepper. You can totally use ground beef if you would like to do that. And then once that's brown, I'm going to add in the water and some taco seasoning. I'm just following the like packet instructions for the taco seasoning. Now, I had just maybe like a tablespoon or so of this Taco Bell mild sauce that I needed to use up. So I'm just going to add that in there and then just simmer this for maybe about 7 to 10 minutes or so. So while that's simmering, I'm going to go ahead and assemble the casserole. Now, I am having the recipe. I've got like a 9x9 casserole dish here that I sprayed with some baking spray. I'm going to add in some crescent rolls, and like I said, because I'm having the recipe, I'm using half of the container. So once I've spread out those crescent rolls, I'm then going to add a layer of refried beans. Now, I like to add my refried beans to a bowl, add a couple tablespoons of water, and then add in some taco seasoning. And, one, just to give it a little bit of flavor, but two, to loosen the refried beans up a little bit. I'm going to spread the refried beans out on top of the crescent rolls. Next, I'm adding my taco meat. I'm just going to spread that out into an even layer. And then last but not least, we're going to add our cheese. You can use whatever cheese you prefer. I've got this Fiesta blend on hand that I need to use up, so I'm going to use that, as well as just a little handful of shredded cheddar cheese. Again, just using what I've got on hand that needs to be used up. So that's it. This is going to go into the preheated oven, and you want to bake this for about 25 minutes or so until the crescent rolls are cooked all the way through. Now, to top this, you can top this, with whatever taco toppings you like. Here's what we like to use. I've got some shredded iceberg lettuce, some chopped up tomatoes, sour cream, and then taco sauce. And you could do avocado, you could do onions, you could do black olives, pickled jalapenos, whatever you like. And here is a picture of my plate. Gary was at the gym, so he ate later than I did. I didn't want to plate it up, because it'd have to be reheated, and I don't want to add the toppings and all that. But to go along with this, I just did a quick, like Tex-Mex style salad. I had some black beans and corn in my refrigerator to use up, so I added that with some tortilla strips and, all the salad fixins and some ranch dressing. And this was delicious. And this burrito casserole, like I said, it's really simple, but there's something about like the crescent rolls with the refried beans and the taco seasoning. It's just a yummy little casserole. So I recommend you give it a try. Now for the dessert. For this recipe, like I said, I normally have it just for Gary and I, and so I normally use one of the small cans of crescent rolls, but this night I just had one of the larger cans of the crescent roll sheet, if you saw that in the previous clip. And so when I cut it in half to make the burrito casserole, I'm like, what am I going to do with the other half? I don't want to waste it. So I was like, I looked over and I had an apple, and I was like, oh yes, I'll make apple dumplings. So I will put the recipe down in the description box below for you, and I want to show you how I made these. These are delicious. If you've never had them before, they're so good. To a little saucepan, I've got this on about medium heat. I'm going to add in my butter and allow it to melt. Now, quick note, I cut this recipe. I did a quarter recipe just for us to, have this night one. It was just the two of us too. I just wanted to use up the crescent rolls that I had on hand. So once I've added the butter, I'm going to add in the brown sugar, vanilla, and cinnamon, and then give that a stir. And you're just going to cook this for a couple minutes until it's thickened. Now, my oven is at 375 to cook the burrito casserole, but before I put this in, I'm going to reduce the heat to 350 degrees. Now, I'm just using a little disposable cake pan that I buttered here. You could use whatever baking dish you prefer. I've got my apples. I just quartered them and then removed the core. You can peel them if you'd like. I just left the peel on. So all we're going to do is take one of the apple slices, add it to the crescent roll it up, and then place it into the buttered dish. Once we've done that, we're going to take that brown sugar butter mixture and pour that all over the yummy, yummy dumplings. Last but not least, you're going to need some sort of soda. The recipe called for Sprite. I did not have any Sprite on hand, but I did have Mountain Dew. And I remember making these years ago and one time using Mountain Dew, and it turned out delicious. So when you add the soda, though, you don't want to pour it over the dumplings. You just want to go like around the side of the pan. And that's it. This is going to go into the preheated oven. Again, it's set at 350 degrees. You're going to bake these for about 35 to 45 minutes until they're golden brown. You want to serve these warm, and in my opinion, the best way to serve these is with some vanilla ice cream. This is so yummy. For dinner the next night, I made Copycat Cheddar's New Orleans pasta. When we go to Cheddar's, most of the time I get this pasta dish. It is like one of my favorite things on their menu. It's delicious. So to this skillet, I've got it on about medium-high heat. I'm going to add in some olive oil, and then you'll need some blackened seasoning. I'm just using the Kroger brand. I had some shrimp in my freezer, and so I just thawed these. I sprinkled both sides of the shrimp with some of that blackened seasoning. I'm going to add the shrimp to my hot oil, and they only take a couple minutes on each side until they start to turn pink. Once they're there, I'm going to remove them to a plate, set those aside. Next, I'm going to add in my sausage. Now, Cheddar's just uses like a smoked sausage, so I'm using this turkey kielbasa to make it kind of more Cajun, New Orleans style. You could use andouille. I think that would be good. But just with the shrimp, we are just going to sear the sausage on both sides. We're not really worrying. I mean, it's pre-cooked sausage, but we're not really worrying about cooking all of our meat all the way at this point. So now that I have the sausage browned up, I'm going to add in a little more olive oil, and then I'm going to add in some diced onion and bell pepper. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper and cook these for maybe 3 to 5 minutes until they get nice and tender. And I also added in just a little splash of water while they were cooking. That just helps them get more tender faster. I've seen that on Rachel Ray, and it really does work. When you're trying to like saute onions and bell peppers down like that, just add in a little splash of water. It definitely helps them cook down faster. So next, we're going to add in some minced garlic, cook that for just about 30 seconds or so, and then it is time to add in our Alfredo sauce. Now, I'm just using jarred Alfredo. You can absolutely make your own homemade Alfredo sauce from scratch. If you follow me for a while, you know homemade Alfredo is just so much better than the jarred, but we're going for quick and easy this night, and with all the other flavors going around, jarred is the way to go. Now, this might sound a little bit odd, but we're going to add in some salsa. Again, I know that might seem odd, but it adds like a nice tomatoey flavor in the background. So once we've added in the salsa, and I'm giving it a good stir, I added in some more blackened seasoning, freshly cracked black pepper, and then I gave it a taste, and I felt like I wanted to kind of amp up the cheese flavor a little bit. So I had some shredded Parmesan cheese in my fridge that needed to be used up, so I'm just adding a little handful in that, and then a little more black pepper. So I'm going to give that a stir, and then I just cooked this for a couple minutes just to warm that Alfredo sauce up, and then we're going to add in our pasta. You can use whatever kind of pasta you like. Cheddar's uses penne pasta, so I decided to use some of this Barilla Protein Plus penne pasta. Just cooked it according to the package instructions in some salted water. So once I've got that pasta stirred in, it's time to add back the shrimp and the sausage and then the chicken. Now, I had some already cooked chicken left over, so I just gave that a chop. I'm going to add that, give it a stir, and then again, I just cooked this for just a couple minutes to just warm all that meat back through. And this is what it looked like when it was done. It is so creamy, and this has so much flavor. Now, normally I serve this with a salad. Cheddar serves it with some garlic bread, but tonight, honestly, I just didn't feel like getting everything out and making a salad, and I wasn't that hungry anyway. So I just served up the pasta. I sprinkled it with a little bit of parsley flakes just for a little color, and then I had some of the no-knead bread. I shared how I made this before in a recent video. I'll link that down below, but I had some left over, so I just warmed it up and added some of the, I think it's the Land O'Lakes brand garlic butter, and this was delicious. This was so good. We had leftovers for lunch the next day, and when you warm it up, just add a little splash of milk, whether you're warming it up in the microwave or on top of the stove, and the Alfredo sauce won't separate on you. But such a yummy dinner. For dinner the next night, I tried a new recipe for a sticky peach glazed chicken. So I found these drumsticks at Kroger. You can see this is a really great deal. It was like $2.46. So I had these drumsticks. You could use thighs, you could use chicken breasts, whatever you prefer. And then the recipe called for you to season it with salt and pepper, but I decided to use some of the Kinder's Japanese barbecue seasoning as well as the brown sugar garlic seasoning. So all I'm going to do is season the chicken on all sides with those two seasonings. Once the chicken was seasoned, I added it to a foil-lined cookie sheet, and then I popped this into a preheated oven. It was set at 425 degrees. I baked it for about 25 minutes on one side, flipped it, baked it for another maybe 20-25 minutes or so, just until the chicken was cooked all the way through. While the chicken is cooking, we're going to make the glaze for the chicken. Now, if you saw my video, I don't know if it was the last video or video before, I had this jar of peach jam that needed to be used up, and I had half the jar remaining, so I'm going to add that to a small bowl. I'm adding some minced garlic and then oil. You could add whatever kind of oil you prefer. I'm using olive oil. Next, we're going to add some soy sauce. I prefer to use low sodium. You use what you like. Then we're going to add some Dijon mustard. And then last but not least, we're going to add in just a little pinch of cayenne. Don't worry, it doesn't make it spicy at all. It just kind of balances out the sweetness from the jam. We're going to give that a really, really good whisk. And then I popped this into the microwave for, I don't know, maybe like 25 or 30 seconds just to loosen it up a little bit. So once the chicken was done, I pulled it out of the oven. I'm going to brush the peach glaze on both sides of the chicken and then pop this back into the oven just for a couple minutes to allow that glaze to set. Now, you could totally grill this on an outdoor grill or an indoor grill if you'd prefer, and I think it would be delicious. So for the side dish, I was going to try a new recipe, but I just didn't feel like it this night. So I had this box of au gratin potatoes in my pantry. I just baked that according to the package instructions along with the chicken. All right, and here is the finished chicken, and just to be completely transparent with you, Gary and I started talking, and I overcooked the chicken slightly, but good thing about using the dark chicken is it wasn't dried out. It was still really moist and flavorful. So here's the au gratin potatoes, and then to go on the side, I made Mandy and the Makings green beans. I will link that recipe down in the description box below for you. All right, here are the plates. So we've got some of the chicken, the au gratin potatoes. I just added some parsley flakes, again, just for color, and then the green beans, and this was delicious. We both really, really enjoyed that chicken. The peach flavor with the chicken, it was delicious. It was really, really good. For dinner the next night, I made clam chowder. I've shared this before on my channel. It has a separate video. I will link it in the description box below for you in case you'd like to see how I make it. I got this recipe from a lady at church. It is easy, it's delicious, and I think it takes like maybe 30 minutes to put together, so it's another good weeknight meal. So for this night, I've got the chowder. I just served it with some extra bacon on top, and then some parsley flakes. And then on the side, I've got some side salads, and then I cooked up some of the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuits. I just used the biscuit mix that you could get at your regular grocery store, just baked it up according to the package instructions. And this was our dinner, and it was delicious. So, so good. Now, for the last dinner in this week's video, Gary ended up eating dinner with his gym group. And so I was looking around to see what I could come up with for myself for dinner. I had about a half a package of that turkey kielbasa left over from the Cheddar's pasta. So I decided to make like my mom's sausage and onion potato sheet pan dinner thingy. That's the official name for it. So all I'm going to do is I've got my oven preheating to 400 degrees. I'm slicing up that sausage, adding it to a bowl. I chopped up some onion. I just had some onion in my refrigerator, so I chopped that up. And then I had this little package of petite yellow potatoes I got at Kroger. So I just quartered those. And then I'm going to drizzle that with some olive oil. As far as seasonings go, my mom likes to use the Mrs. Dash garlic and herbs. I didn't have that on hand, so I'm just using some of the Kinder's blend. I'm going to give that a really good mix. And then as I was mixing it, I realized I wanted some more onions, so I chopped up some more onions, gave it another toss. And you could, of course, use whatever vegetables you like. I think bell pepper would be good in this, maybe some broccoli, mushrooms, zucchini, squash, whatever you like. So I've given that a really good toss. I'm going to lay that out on a cookie sheet. And then this is going to go into the preheated oven. I baked it for, I think, about 20 minutes and then gave it a little stir and baked it for another 15 to 20 minutes or so. And this is what it looked like when it was done. To be honest with you, I would prefer the potatoes to be a little bit more brown, but I was starving and they were cooked all the way through, so I was like, forget it, I'll just go ahead and eat it. So I had that with a big side salad, and that was my dinner this night. All right, that is it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some dinner ideas. If you like this video, hit the button, the thumbs up button rather, down below, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.